As the calendar turns toward the winter of 2026, many people are naturally focused on holiday preparations and seasonal festivities. However, amidst the hustle and bustle, federal emergency management officials have released updated winter preparedness guidelines that demand serious attention. Based on decades of disaster response data, these are not mere suggestions or theoretical exercises. They are practical necessities derived from hard-learned lessons in frozen communities across the nation. We have all witnessed the increasing frequency of severe winter weather events over the past few years, seeing record-breaking cold snaps, widespread power grid failures that last for days, and significant supply chain disruptions that leave store shelves empty when people need supplies the most. Infrastructure experts are genuinely concerned about the compounding effects of aging systems meeting unprecedented weather patterns. The good news is that preparing properly does not require building a bunker or spending thousands of dollars on specialized survival gear. True preparedness relies on securing 13 specific fundamental items, most of which are surprisingly affordable, and developing a realistic plan for utilizing them when normal services cease to function. The first and most critical item on the federal guideline list is water storage, but the requirements are likely higher than most people anticipate. The standard recommendation is 1 gallon of water per person per day for a minimum of 3 days. For a family of 4, that equals a 12-gallon minimum baseline. However, seasoned preparedness advocates know that this is the absolute bare minimum. The crucial element that often gets overlooked is the necessity of having that water stored immediately, long before a weather alert pops up on your phone to fill bathtubs and pitchers is a recipe for failure. In many real-world scenarios, by the time the public is aware of an imminent threat, water pressure is already dropping due to high demand, or pipes in the neighborhood are beginning to freeze. You might end up with only a fraction of what you need to sustain your household through a multi-day outage. The reality of winter water emergencies is that they happen with startling speed. Municipal water treatment facilities lose power, main lines crack under frozen ground pressure, and residential pipes burst without warning. Furthermore, most people drastically underestimate how much water is required for tasks beyond simple hydration. You need water to manually flush toilets when municipal pressure fails, which is a sanitation crisis waiting to happen. You need water for basic hygiene to prevent illness when normal showers are impossible, and you need water to clean wounds if someone is injured during the storm. For long-term storage, relying on old milk jugs is a common mistake. They degrade quickly, become brittle, leak, and are prone to bacterial growth. Investing in proper food-grade water containers is essential. These durable containers, stored in a cool, dark location away from direct sunlight and chemicals, can last for over a decade. A practical habit to develop is labeling each container with its fill date using a permanent marker and rotating the supply every 6 months. While water doesn't technically expire, it can develop a stale taste, and plastic containers can eventually degrade. Having an additional case or two of commercially bottled water is also smart for portability and ease of use in immediate grab-and-go situations. The second item is non-perishable food, but specifically food that your family will actually eat willingly. A common pitfall in emergency preparation is stocking up on dense, unfamiliar survival foods that nobody in the household enjoys in normal life, thinking they will force it down if necessary. In a high-stress emergency situation, forcing yourself and your family to eat unpalatable food adds misery to an already difficult experience. Federal guidelines suggest a 3-day minimum supply, but aiming for a full week is a far safer buffer, as major winter storms rarely adhere to a neat 3-day timetable. The key is selecting foods that require minimal preparation, provide substantial nutritional value, and taste decent without extensive cooking. Canned goods form the foundation of a solid emergency pantry. Items like beans, chili, hearty soups, stews, canned tuna, and canned chicken provide essential protein and calories to keep energy levels up in cold temperatures. Peanut butter is an incredibly valuable emergency food source, as it is calorie-dense, packed with protein, requires no refrigeration even after opening, has a long life shelf, and can be eaten directly from the jar if necessary.
Other excellent options include granola bars, trail mix with nuts and dried fruit, instant oatmeal packets, sturdy crackers, shelf-stable milk boxes, and fruit squeeze pouches. It is vital to store food that mimics your normal diet as closely as possible. Familiar comfort foods can provide a significant mental and emotional boost during a stressful power outage. Budget-friendly stores can be excellent resources for building this stockpile. The same brand name canned goods often cost significantly less at discount retailers. The critical discipline here is rotation. Every 6 months, examine expiration dates, consume the oldest items in your regular meal rotation, and replace them with fresh stock to prevent waking up in an emergency to find your entire food supply expired 2 years ago. Furthermore, adopt the mindset that you may have to eat this food cold. If the power is out and your alternative heating method fails, you must still consume calories to stay warm and functional. This leads directly to the third item, which is perhaps the most frequently forgotten yet inexpensive essential: a high-quality manual can opener. It costs very little, yet without it, a significant portion of your carefully stored food supply becomes inaccessible. Emergency shelters frequently report people arriving with bags of canned goods, but no way to open them. Electric can openers are useless in a blackout, and cans with pull tabs are often the first to disappear from store shelves during a panic buy. Do not rely on a flimsy, cheap can opener that slips and jams. Invest in a solid, comfortable hand crank model, test it immediately to ensure it works smoothly, and then store it in a designated spot with your emergency food supplies so it is not lost in a cluttered kitchen drawer when the lights go out. Item number 4 is alternative cooking methods that will not endanger your household. When the electrical grid fails, modern kitchen appliances become useless. The primary goal is having a safe way to heat food and boil water, with the emphasis heavily placed on safety. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a silent, deadly killer that claims lives every single winter because people bring outdoor heating or cooking devices inside in a desperate attempt to stay warm or cook a hot meal. Never, under any circumstances, should you use a propane grill, a charcoal barbecue, a camp stove designed for outdoor use, or a gasoline generator indoors, in a garage, or even on a covered patio near windows. Carbon monoxide is odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Victims simply become drowsy, lose consciousness, and succumb to the fumes without ever realizing they are in danger. Safe indoor alternatives are limited but effective. Single-burner butane stoves designed for indoor catering use are excellent. They are portable, relatively inexpensive, and the fuel canisters are stable and easy to store. Another option is canned heat, the gel fuel often seen keeping buffet food warm. These are not powerful, but they can heat soup or boil small amounts of water. If you possess any fuel-burning device, having working carbon monoxide detectors on every level of your home is mandatory. Test them monthly and replace the batteries twice a year. If you cannot cook safely with adequate ventilation, accept the reality of eating cold food. It is far better to eat a cold meal than to risk the lives of your family with carbon monoxide. When the furnace stops running and outside temperatures plummet, staying warm becomes a matter of immediate survival, making item number 5 crucial: alternative warmth layers. Federal guidelines emphasize this heavily because hypothermia is a very real threat, particularly for the very young and the elderly. Your warmth kit should go far beyond a few extra throws on the couch. It must include thermal emergency blankets, the metallic reflective style that keeps body heat contained, along with multiple pairs of thick wool socks, knit hats to prevent huge heat loss from the head, insulated gloves, heavy flannel blankets, thick quilts, thermal underwear, heavy sweaters, and fleece-lined pants. Disposable chemical hand and foot warmers are inexpensive and can provide critical localized heat for several hours, making a significant difference when tucked into pockets or boots. Thrift stores can be gold mines for acquiring high-quality winter gear like wool blankets and heavy coats at a fraction of the retail price. The strategy is to layer up immediately when the power fails, before your body becomes chilled. Once your core temperature drops, it takes significantly more energy to warm back up. Utilize old-school insulation techniques like stuffing newspapers into jackets or sleeping bags for extra trapped air.
Conserve heat by closing off unused rooms, hanging blankets over doorways to create smaller zones, and blocking drafts under doors and along windowsills with rolled-up towels.
Designate one room as the central warm room and keep everyone together. The combined body heat of several people in a smaller space actually helps raise the ambient temperature. Item number 6 addresses the vital need for information when modern communication networks crash, a battery-powered or hand-crank NOAA weather radio. When cell phone towers lose power, networks become overloaded and internet connections go down. Your smartphone becomes useless. However, radio waves continue to broadcast, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration provides continuous, localized weather updates and emergency information. You need a dedicated receiver to pick up these specific frequencies. The best emergency radios offer multiple power sources, standard batteries, a hand crank for manual charging, and a small solar panel. Knowing what is happening beyond your immediate street, such as road closures, evacuation orders, or the expected duration of the storm, is crucial for making informed decisions. Without this information, you are operating blindly, which can lead to dangerous choices. Item number 7 is reliable lighting that does not pose a fire hazard. FEMA explicitly discourages relying on candles during power outages. The incidence of residential fires spikes dramatically during blackouts because people leave candles unattended, fall asleep with them burning, or knock them over in the dark. You need at least 2 high-quality LED flashlights per household, along with backup lighting for common areas. Modern LED technology is far superior to older incandescent bulbs, offering brighter light, longer lifespans, and significantly better battery efficiency. Headlamps are particularly valuable because they allow hands-free operation for cooking, navigating dark stairwells, or attending to children. A supply of chemical glow sticks is also excellent, especially for households with children. While not bright enough for detailed tasks, they provide comforting ambient light that reduces anxiety in complete darkness and are perfectly safe. When professional medical help is inaccessible due to impassable roads, you become your family's first responder, making item number 8 essential: comprehensive medical preparedness. This means a well-stocked first aid kit and a buffer supply of critical prescription medications. Your kit needs to be robust, containing more than just adhesive bandages. It should include gauze pads, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, a variety of pain relievers, antihistamines for allergic reactions, antidiarrheal medication, antacids, tweezers, medical scissors, a digital thermometer, electrolyte powder for dehydration, hydrocortisone cream, and antibiotic ointment. If anyone in your household has specific medical needs such as severe allergies requiring epinephrine, asthma requiring inhalers, or diabetes requiring insulin and glucose monitoring, having backup supplies is non-negotiable. Talk to your physician about obtaining an extra week or 2 supply of vital prescriptions in anticipation of winter emergencies. Many doctors are understanding of this need given recent weather trends. Item number 9 is cash in small denominations stored in a waterproof container. When the power grid goes down, the entire digital economy grinds to a halt. Credit card terminals do not work, ATMs are offline, and banks may be closed. In such a scenario, cash is the only remaining medium of exchange. Emergency officials recommend keeping a sum roughly equivalent to $100 to $200 in small bills, 1s, 5s, and 10s. During a crisis, breaking a large bill may be impossible if merchants have limited change or are unwilling to part with small currency. This cash reserve should be protected from moisture and physical damage in a rugged container and perhaps split up between your home emergency kit and a secure location in your vehicle. Item number 10 is arguably the most important non-physical item on the list: a comprehensive family communication plan. You can possess all the supplies in the world, but if you cannot locate your family members or verify their safety, panic will override everything else. Your plan needs 3 distinct components. First, establish an out-of-state contact person. During regional disasters, local phone lines are often jammed, but long-distance calls have a better chance of connecting. Choose a relative or friend who lives far away to act as the central check-in point for separated family members. Second, determine predetermined meeting locations. One spot right outside your home in case of a sudden fire or structural issue, and another location outside your immediate neighborhood, such as a library or community center in case you cannot return home. Third, ensure hard copies of important phone numbers and addresses are written down and easily accessible, as you cannot rely on a dead cell phone's contact list.
Item number 11 is a simple emergency whistle for signaling. If you become trapped under debris, injured and unable to move, or lost in whiteout conditions, a loud whistle blast carries much further than the human voice and requires far less energy to sustain. The universal distress signal is 3 short, distinct blasts. A high decibel safety whistle should be attached to every family member's keychain or gear bag. Item number 12 involves basic protective equipment, specifically high-quality dust masks and heavy-duty work gloves. Winter storms often cause structural damage that stirs up hazardous debris, dust, and mold. N95 respirator masks filter out harmful particles and protect your lungs during cleanup or if you must shelter in a damaged building. Furthermore, dealing with fallen icy branches, broken glass, and frozen debris requires sturdy leather or composite work gloves to prevent severe lacerations and cold injuries to your hands. Finally, item number 13 is a secure, waterproof, and portable container holding copies of your critical documents. Insurance policies, medical records, bank account details, identification documents, property deeds, and lists of medications and emergency contacts are vital for rebuilding your life after a disaster. If you need to evacuate quickly or if your home is damaged by water or fire, having immediate access to this paperwork expedites insurance claims, medical treatment, and proof of identity. While digital backups in secure cloud storage are good, physical copies are essential for situations where computers and the internet are unavailable. Acquiring these 13 items does not need to be an overwhelming financial burden. The most effective approach is to build your kit systematically. Focus first on the absolute essentials of water, non-perishable food, and warmth. Once those foundations are secure, add communication tools, medical supplies, and lighting. Utilizing discount stores and thrift shops for items like canned goods, blankets, and basic tools can save a tremendous amount of money. The goal is to buy a few extra items during each regular shopping trip, spreading the cost over several weeks or months. Regular testing and rotation of your supplies are just as important as acquiring them. Being prepared is an ongoing lifestyle, not a one-time purchase. By taking these practical steps now, before the winter storms arrive, you are not just buying supplies, you are securing peace of mind and the ability to protect and care for your family when the systems we rely on fail.